Every school I have ever taught in has a library. They have a student learning center. They have a place where students can borrow books or they can read books, and they usually have some DVDs in there, and they'll have some episodes of Friends and you know, whatever they'll have in there. And they're always very proud of it. When you have your orientation, they take you around, and this is the copy room, and this is the copy room, and this is our student learning center where students can borrow books. And I've only been in one school that actually documented what percentage of students were borrowing books. And that school, it was like 1% of students were borrowing books. And we don't know what they did with those books. Did they read them? Did they borrow once a month, once a semester, every day? We don't know. But it's a very small percentage. And now, again, this number, don't hold me to this number. I will allow you an error margin of 20%. If you tell me that 20% of students are borrowing books, or minus 20% of students are borrowing books, I will agree with you. But it's not enough. Now, what happens after that is the listening. The listening is exactly the same thing. This is our listening center. We have these DVDs. We have, you know, and, okay, but are you monitoring how many students go there? Are you monitoring what they do when they go there? Generally, the answer is no. So, one of the other problems is nobody wants to pay teachers to watch students listen. Nobody's going to pay you to sit in the classroom and watch students listen to a CD. They always say students can listen on their own. That's always the argument. Well, why don't you have sort of a class where teachers watch the students listen? No, no, no. Students can listen on their own. Yes, true. In theory, students can listen on their own. No one is stopping them. But do they? So working with your director of studies or your dean, suggest building in a regular self-study listening program as part of your course. Okay, so we're not looking for a revolution. We're looking for adding a top-up to the good work that you're already doing. And by the way, everybody, put your hands up like this, please. That's for you. Okay, you're doing the hardest job and most important job in the world. You're English teachers, and you're doing a very good job. And this might be a way that we can enhance what we're doing in the classroom already. Mandatory homework hours. At DLI, homework hours are mandatory. I studied also in a similar military program. We had 40 hours of classes. We had mandatory homework. Because my scores were low, I had 32 hours of mandatory homework per week. That meant 4 hours a night, every night, and then 8 hours on Sunday. I had to sign in and sign out of the homework room. And they had homework monitors watching me study and do homework. Now, I know you probably can't implement such a draconian system in your school, but could you, in your course description, could you have your current course requirements plus X number of listening hours per week? Could you do that? Could you ask that of your dean? Let's have our current course exactly as it is, but let's attach X number of hours per week that the students are required to do on their own. Have your students keep a listening and reading diary. See, so we can get the reading deck in there. Give your students a diary, a beautiful diary. Let them decorate it. Let them draw pictures on it. Let them write their name on it. And in that diary, they can document what they listen to, how many hours they listen, how many minutes they listen. Also, they can put their reading in there as well. And you could also have them do a self-evaluation. Let them be honest. I believe I understood 10% of what I listened to. Good for you, John. Excellent. 10% is great. Hopefully next month it'll be better. Whatever it is, it's great. Just do it. Class activities. What you can do is as follow-ups to the listening diary. You can have students write assignments based on their individual listening. If they have 5 hours of individual listening, let them listen to whatever they want. They keep a diary. And maybe once a week you have to write a little essay. Turn into you. Teacher, this is what I listened to this week. Summarizing. You have students do oral presentations. So now we can bring in the skills of listening, writing, speaking, bring it all together. Assign the same listening to everyone in your class. That's another option. Have the whole class listen to the same listening, or watch the same movie, or watch the same TV show. They can come back in, they can do class discussion or activities based on those subtitles. Now, for my Chinese, I do 4 hours of TV every single day. I carry a small MP4 player around with me, and I listen to Chinese soap operas. I go home and I watch American movies dubbed into Chinese, or American TV shows dubbed into Chinese, or I watch Chinese dramas. I watch Ai Qing Gong Yu, is my favorite TV show in China. I do 4 hours per day. And people always ask me about the subtitles. All right. For me, for Chinese language, I leave the subtitles on because it's helping me with my Chinese reading at the same time that I'm listening. For your English students, leaving the subtitles on can still be very beneficial because why? Subtitles force you to read very quickly. And particularly with teaching Asian students, I have found it is difficult to get them to skim. They feel, I think because the Asian education system is sort of had to feed into their heads to read everything that's put in front of you. And it's just impossible because even for native speakers we don't do that. For learners, it's even more difficult. So by having the subtitle, it's going to force them to skim, their eyes will scan across the bottom of the screen and they'll only pick up on keywords and names and large words. So it's a good exercise. For lower level students, subtitles on is almost a must because it will create context and understanding. Also, a trick that I do, when I didn't quite hear it, I hit pause and then I can read. Don't tell them that, that's a trick. Right. Subtitles off for higher level students. At some point, the subtitles have to go off. Why? We're testing what? We're learning what? Listening. We're not going to do that if the subtitles are on. Okay? So there's benefits to everything. Look, everything you've ever done in your classroom, everything you can imagine has benefit, has its place. Subtitles on has its place. Subtitles off has its place. And look at this one. Own language subtitles. Oh my gosh, send Antonio to prison. Own language subtitles. Yes, let the students, low-level students, can have their own language subtitles on for the first listen. And then they watch it again with their own subtitles off for the second listening. And they only get credit for the second listener. And again, a lot of this is dependent on the volition and honesty of the student. But at the end of the day, we are facilitators, coaches, encouragers. We can't actually make them learn. Yeah. It's up to them what they learn. So you tell them that. You teach them the methodology. The good students will do it. I'm being told I have 5 minutes left. Local subtitles. Create context. Hola, lo espero que a usted le gusten mis subtítulos. Which means, I hope you enjoy my subtitles. Alright, how to listen. Okay, for Chinese I listen 4 hours a day. Do natural listening. Do not take notes. Do not use a dictionary. Natural listening. Don't take notes, use a dictionary. Some things you simply will not understand and you have to accept that. You will not understand. I understood nothing.